That's fascinating. See, I had
Yeah.
no idea that's how stuff like that works. If you get the call for troops in contact, let's say whatever it might be for whatever
Hmm.
reason, how are you communicating? Are you just over a radio to the guys on the ground? How are you communicating? These are the good guys. These are the bad guys. This
Yeah.
is where we're going to strike.
Yeah, usually, let's just think up a quick scenario. So if I'm out there doing one of those non-kinetic sorties, and I'm flying up and down the highway, looking at guys shaking rugs on the side of the highway or whatever. By the way, sidebar, we did create a little bingo card to catch, like a guy dragging a donkey cart, a guy shaking a rug, a dude taking a piss on the side of the road, and every now and then you'd hit bingo in one night, and it was kind of cool. Anyways, um, you have to find ways to entertain yourself when you're drilling holes in the sky for 4 hours at a time, right? So we're up there, we're drilling holes, we're looking at guys taking a piss on the side of the road in our targeting pod, and then the radio cracks and it says, "Hey, dude 01, you are for tick, Bravo 02 at this coordinate at this bullseye. Contact JTAC creature 01 on 3030 Fox Mike." And you go, okay, and you snap towards that coordinate, towards that heading. And when you're within about 50 miles, you start trying to get him on the radio. And from there, it's really a game. It's kind of a dance in a way where you have to be moving together a little bit. You can't be stepping on each other's toes. One guy has to lead, obviously, but you have to be in step. And you have to, between the JTAC and you in the air, you have to build this common operating picture of what's going on, right? So he's trying to feed us information, give us, meanwhile, I mean, think about it. We're still 40 miles away. So we don't even have eyes on the battle space yet. We don't know what he's talking about when he says the building, the L-shaped building. We haven't seen it yet. So we're trying to build this mental model of what's going on. And hopefully when we do get our sensors on, maybe 15 miles away or so, maybe we can start to correlate that and it makes sense.
You just said JTAC. I hear pilots, both
Mm-hmm.
helicopters and the jets, planes. They talk about JTACs and
Yeah.
CCTs.
Yeah.
What can you are those are not the same thing, but they
They,
are very
they are not.
similar. But they're
The,
similar, aren't they?
well, yes and no. It gets a little muddy, but CCT would be more on, I would put that more into the special operations category, into the tiered structure, if you will. Um, they go through a different pipeline, they go through different training, and their role is more of a pathfinder role. Like they're gonna be the guys to go up and set up a landing zone or an airstrip in an austere environment from scratch, and be the guys controlling airplanes coming into that. Whereas a joint terminal air controller, the JTACs, I would say that they're more on the conventional side versus the special side. They're aligned more towards um, they're aligned on the conventional side with Army brigades, right? So at the brigade level, you're going to have a air liaison officer, which I did twice. It was pretty cool. We'll get into that later. And then you have a JTAC and a JTAC in training. That makes up what we call the TACPs, the Tactical Air Control Party. So there's your party. And when we deployed, we would deploy, and I'm talking about from the Army side, from the ground side, because I did this twice. You'll deploy with an ALO, probably another ALO, a junior ALO, air liaison officers, and then you'll have a handful of JTACs and a handful of JTACs in training, like number twos, and then you'll deploy those over the battle space down all the way down to the company and platoon levels. So the JTAC, his job when we're in country, his job is controlling the the airspace over the ground space for the ground commander, right? So if you got a battalion or a company that's going out there and say, we're going to go take the hill, all right, great, let's go take the hill. Well, he's going to have a JTAC with him, and he's probably going to be sitting right beside that captain, and they're going to roll out in their Humvees or their whatever truck they're riding in, and that JTAC is going to control probably a 10 to 15 mile cylinder around that hill that we're going to go take. We call that a restricted operating zone, a ROZ, and it's going to have dimensions and it's going to have rules to entering and exiting and whatnots. But any aircraft that comes into that, That JTAC is responsible for deconflicting them to make sure they don't crash into each other, giving them assignments. When it gets time to what we say go kinetic or drop bombs on it, that JTAC is the one that's assigning the targets to the aircraft and reading them off the coordinates and all that stuff. So his role is very dynamic.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good to clear because I've
Yeah.
never understood quite the difference. To me, it always seemed like they were used a little
Yeah.
interchangeably, and I'm glad that we were able to kind of get that
Yeah. Now I hesitate to put that in black and white, and because I know that there's listeners going, no, no, okay. So there are a lot of your special operators are JTACs as well. I was on a Navy SEALs podcast not too long ago, and he was a JTAC. He was a Navy SEAL, but he was a JTAC. He had gone through the JTAC school. There are CCT members that are JTACs. So let's just try not to confuse those. There are special operators who are JTACs, and then there are JTACs in the conventional Air Force and Army as well.
Gotcha.